Take me back. Hey, shout out to my girl Raquel, man. And make sure you download this. Make sure you stream it. That's my beautiful friend. My beautiful friend. Very. Hey, she got a beautiful voice, man. Beautiful black queen. Let's go. That's a fact. Hey. So yeah, if you're ready to vibe to watch me react and see my opinion on this, let's get into the. So yeah, I didn't say I'm about to react to 8 things you probably didn't know about Nascar. This video is a video posted made by S1, so S1AP shoes. I hope that's what you say. I don't know if it's slap shoes, maybe that's that. Yeah, so it's slap shoes but written differently. So yeah, it's talking this video, so I'm just gonna make the screen big as you can see. Alright, 1, 2, 3, let's go. I love this. Let's go. I've noticed that a good chunk of my subscribers have either never watched a NASCAR race or have just started getting into the sport. And with the quarantine finally being... That's me, boy. That's me, sir. Yes, sir. And I'm glad. You know, I'm discovering. I didn't know how big this sport was, but now I know that American people, like, you know, majority fan base of in the US, they really do love NASCAR. So never watched yeah, let's go. Race or have just started getting into the sport. And with the quarantine finally being partially lifted, I'm definitely NASCAR being the first American sport to resume competition, albeit with no fans in attendance. There's going to be an influx of new viewers checking into NASCAR for the first time. The way so I thought it might be a good idea to you call it stadium exactly the hell is going on here or just a track stadium? Do you mix up? Look how packed it is. The more you know about what's going on. Let me actually listen. Sorry. So I thought it might be a good idea to explain what exactly the hell is going on here for newcomers. NASCAR is actually a lot like baseball or golf. The more you know about it, the more interesting it becomes. But the less you know about it, the more ridiculous it seems. So with information at a premium, here are 8 things that you probably didn't know about NASCAR. First off, NASCAR was started by state and federal criminals. Although NASCAR's founder Bill France was never a rum runner himself, NASCAR's early rosters from the late 40s and early 50s were filled with convicts and guys who just never got caught. Before and after Prohibition, intoxicating spirits were banned outright in several states in the Southeast. So enterprising young men throughout the South souped up their hot rods so they could outrun the cops when they were on one of their nightly runs. Eventually, local legends grew, and people wanted to know which of their local bootleggers was the best driver. And so, tracks and competitions were organized, and at some point somebody had the bright idea to start selling tickets to these get-togethers, and stock car racing was born. Bill France, a Daytona Beach resident and businessman, as well as a former race car driver himself, saw the growing interest and established the National Association. I get another call. Hold on, that's my mom. Wait, hello?
Je l'avais sur money, KFC, takeaway.
KFC?
Ouais.
Ok. Attends, là je suis en train de finir ma vidéo, après je vais pas reprendre. Ok. Right, let's get back to it. Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, NASCAR, and the rest was history. While many NASCAR stars had their fair share of run-ins with the law, there was none more famous than the last American hero himself, Junior Johnson. A 50-time winner in NASCAR's top series, Junior Johnson was arrested by federal revenuers in 1956 when he went to... Yo, I know, the video is long, but I just want to say quickly, this is mad. The way this was funded. Isn't that a bit crazy, people? Like, people that have had conviction, criminal conviction, people that were doing madness, running the streets, running away from the police, being chased in the car. It's crazy. Like, that's why we always say, like, not everything has to come from goods, it's mad, but we have, sometimes you have to keep things into perspective. You have to be real. Today, a lot of things we see in the world today, some of the people that we like, they don't all have a clean background. You know what I mean? Some of the things that we use today, I mean, you guys already saw the start of this video. Like, I'm from the Democratic Republic of Congo, Kinshasa, and Congo is one of the richest country on earth in mineral, and probably the richest. Do you know what I mean? And the fact that coltan, which is the first element they use to make the camera you're watching me now, the cell phone that you're using, laptops, you name it, cars, and then there's genocide as well. So
it's crazy how so much negativity also happen usually for good to come. But yeah, man, it's just mad how this was founded. But wow, interesting.
His father still won. He spent 1 year in federal prison and was eventually pardoned by President Ronald Reagan many years later, although he had begun the appeal process under the Carter administration. But in true bootlegger fashion, if you ever brought this up to Junior while he was still alive, he'd be quick to remind you that he never got caught behind the wheel while he was making one of his runs. Junior gained a reputation on the track for being a tough-as-nails driver and an innovative mechanic. So innovative, in fact, that he is widely regarded as one of the most cheatingest figures in all of NASCAR. And that gets me to number 2 on this list. Cheating is not only tolerated by NASCAR fans, but is actually celebrated. I know this comes as a shocker and is at odds with every other sport in existence, but hear me out. Although the sanctioning body of NASCAR is very stringent with its rules, NASCAR fans have always turned a blind eye to cheaters in the sport and actually sing their praises amongst themselves. Teams are allowed to either build their own cars or purchase them from other teams. And even though NASCAR has strict specifications that those cars have to adhere to, there's always a little wiggle room left to exploit. There's an old saying in NASCAR, if you ain't cheating, then you ain't winning. Everybody does it, although they're usually bending the rules or just breaking a rule.
What? That's mad.
Junior Johnson was so prolific in the art of rule dodging that he actually had one of his creations put into the NASCAR Hall of Fame, the Yellow Banana. A 66 Ford Galaxy that was one of the most disgustingly illegal cars in the history of the sport, and got its name due to its shape and its yellow paint job. But if there was ever a mechanic who could best Junior Johnson in the dark arts of stock car cheating, it was Smokey Yunick. With a silly name but a penchant for disregarding the rules at every turn, NASCAR fans became enamored with Smokey's antics. He did anything to get a leg up over the competition, making his engines too big, mounting the bodies too far forward on the frame, increasing the size of the fuel tank, and when officials became wary of that, they mandated the size of the fuel tank to 20 gallons. But Smokey then just made the fuel line wrap around the car, which squeezed an extra gallon or two out of the limit set in place. And in one famous example, Smokey had his fuel tank seized by NASCAR tech inspectors, saying that it was too large and he had a total of 10 infractions that needed to be changed. They had pulled the fuel tank out of the car as extra punishment, thinking that Smokey would have to push the car back to the garage. But instead, Smokey just jumped in the car, cranked it up, still with no fuel tank in it, and drove it back to his crew while shouting at the officials, "Make that 11 things." True to his name, Smokey fogged up the lines between right and wrong. And even to this day, this proud tradition of rule bending is still alive in NASCAR. As recently as 2018, during the Flexgate scandal, Stewart-Haas racing cars have manipulated the bracing on the rear window to give way at high speeds to direct more airflow towards the spoiler, an exploit famously found out by NASCAR Reddit. Being as there was no rule in place to brake at the time, NASCAR let the wins by Stewart-Haas stand, but said that anything of the like found going forward would be dealt with harshly, as teams found out the hard way later. The Stewart-Haas team of cars beat the law at the time, but that actually leads to the question, wait, there are teams in NASCAR? Well, yeah, number 3. NASCAR is a team sport. One team owner might expand his stable from one car to include 2, 3, or even 4 cars, the maximum allowable as of right now, piloted by different drivers.
So far I've learned how it was made up, people that had criminal records. Cheating is definitely part of this sport, which is crazy, and it's a team sport. Interesting.
Crew chiefs who prepare the cars. These teams share information and discoveries, but still prepare their cars independently according to the preferences of the drivers.
I don't know what it is, but I think the first time, obviously this is my main time to really discover the sport, but as a kid I used to watch a lot of different type of movies, so I've definitely seen a random NASCAR movie, like maybe a car track racing movie type of movie, old school, American movies, and I think one of them used to be where it was like you build your own car and think like it'd be like this. What do you guys think? Do you think it's a good thing? But I guess when you look at F1, different organization like you go Mercedes, Ferrari, they all make their car to their own, do you know what I mean, model. But I'm not an expert. I'm trying to learn. So if you come across this, let me know what you think of this. Do F1 have to do like the cars have to all be in the same level and to the regulation? Because obviously I've heard F1 fans say that Lewis Hamilton won because his car was faster. Like, is that the same as NASCAR? Because it seems like a NASCAR you're allowed to do whatever you want to your car, which is a bit weird when they tried to discover in 2018 there was cheating. When the sport allows cheating, the guy said, when you cheat, you are cheered by fans, which is you don't normally get that in other sports, especially football, soccer, rugby, you name it, basketball. So this is quite interesting, man. This sport is really like, I'm here to do my thing. Like, I don't care about who you are.
Sometimes this leads to friendly and not
You
so
do whatever
friendly
you can to
competition
win.
in-house, which may or may not have beneficial effects on the teams. It's all dependent on the chemistry of the people involved. So the owner of the entire operation has to manage his personnel accordingly. Just as important as the team of mechanics are the pit crew members who service the car during the actual race. These fearless men plucked from the rosters of professional and collegiate athletic programs braved the chaos of pit road and changed tires and put new fuel in the car, all while making adjustments
Oh,
and
they do
repairs
that
as
too.
dozens of other
I
cars
didn't
and
know they
teams
do
are
this.
all doing the same thing on pit lane.
I thought this was just
Under ideal
F1.
conditions, a NASCAR pit crew can change 4 tires, top off fuel, and make adjustments to the car in less than 14 seconds. And yes, sometimes
Wow.
accidents do occur and they get hurt.
Oh,
but
no.
thanks to safety regulations and the skill of other drivers out there on pit lane, those incidents
alright.
are few and far between. The
Yeah,
pit crew
that's
members are the
mad.
athletes that make the team the best they can be on race day. But what about
Imagine
the
they
guys
doing this
behind the
within
wheel piloting the race
14
car?
seconds. That's mad.
Enlisted
they-
is the free brand new online
That takes
World War II
years,
shooter.
months
Command a
of
squad soldiers and
training,
participate in
professional, you know.
legendary ba-
You gotta be active, quick.
Itself. That gets us to number 4. Yes, the drivers are athletes. It takes a special type
Ooh.
of crazy to hop
Of
into
course,
a metal
man.
coffin wearing a fire
I knew it.
suit and
Are you
swing a car
crazy? I
around
can't do
200
this.
miles an hour. But it also takes an insane
Two-
amount of physical fitness as well. Temperatures inside the car can reach as high as 140 degrees Fahrenheit. And in this oven, you have to think critically about your next move and have cat-like reflexes, all while
Wow.
communicating to your crew about how your car
Guys, for people been on my channel before, this is exactly why I always say it doesn't matter which sport it is. Look, maybe golf, I'm gonna react to golf as well as cricket. These are probably 2 sports, maybe even dart. I know dart is a sport, I don't know, you debate it, but these are probably 2 sports where I probably have the least interest. But I've heard it, I've watched it, a few here and there, but I want to learn more. That's what it's all about. This is why I'm doing these reaction. I'm loving doing these reaction. There's no way these people can do what they do if it's just like, yeah, I'm chilling and then I go and do it. No, it takes years, it takes practice, it takes dedication, and you have to be professional. You have to get to that. You have to work hard for it. This is why I'm not surprised. Like, you can't get an ordinary normal driver to just go there and start doing it, you know. This is why I always say I respect everyone that do things that I cannot do. You know what I'm trying to say? So you always don't hate. Respect, appreciate, be motivated, but do not hate. This is why I never get when people hate on people doing things that they cannot do. Do you know what I mean? So
cars
let's
holding
go.
up via radio. NASCAR legend Bobby Allison used to prepare for these insane conditions by driving around his home in Hueytown, Alabama in his personal car in the middle of the summer with the windows rolled up, with the heat blasting, and while wearing several jackets. Drivers nowadays take trips to the sauna, have a strict fitness regimen,
Okay.
and diet
Yeah,
they
old
have to
school
adhere
was
to in
crazy.
order to stay at peak performance. The man we can thank for this breakthrough is Mark Martin, a man often derided as undersized during his early career. The 5'6" Arkansas native took up weightlifting and high-level fitness programs to make up for it, and found out that the workouts actually made him better equipped to handle the demands of NASCAR racing. And soon after that, nearly everyone followed suit. Even in his 50s
Smart
and
guy.
still winning
He paved
races,
the way.
Mark was still rocking an 8-pack. Wait, Mark Martin was
Jeez.
still winning races
Man like
in
Mark.
his 50s? Yep,
Don't
that gives
know.
us number 5 on the list.
OG and
NASCAR
that.
drivers can have incredibly long careers. The average
Yeah,
successful
51
NASCAR
years
driver
old,
will
still
make
good.
his first starts in his early 20s and will retire in his mid to late 40s. Some drivers even go beyond
Wow.
this. In 1992, Harry
Wow.
Gant set the record that still stands today as the oldest driver to ever win a NASCAR race at 52 years old. Mark Martin got close
Wow.
in 2009 at age 50, but no driver has challenged the throne since. And to give you some perspective, if the youngest driver to ever win a race, Joey Logano, who got his first win at the age of 19 in 2009, beat Harry Gant's record, we would have to wait until 2043. Current drivers span all age groups and backgrounds. Joey Logano from Connecticut will turn 30 this year. His
Crazy.
teammate Ryan Blaney is 26 and hails from Ohio. And one of the best in the business right now, Kevin Harvick from Bakersfield, California, is 44 and has just signed a multi-year contract extension. Hey, maybe he'll be the one to take handsome Harry Gant's crown. Okay, so we've covered the who, the what, and the why of NASCAR, but as you sit down to watch the race, what should you be keeping your eye on? Yes, there's daring, death-defying moves and beating and banging action happening every so often, but what
Yeah,
keeps NASCAR
crazy.
crazies such as myself glued to
Oh
the TV
my-
for the entire duration of the race? Number
Jesus.
6, it's
Yo,
all about
that's mad.
strategy. Most NASCAR races are between 4 and 500 miles long, and as you probably guessed, you have to stop
Sure.
for tires and fuel along the way. But when do you do it? Your tires will wear out faster the harder you push them. So do you just take it easy and make up time in the long run, or do you push it now and end up losing time as the race goes on? You need to make it to the front in order to win, but when and how you do this matters in the grand scheme of things. Helping the driver and the crew work this out and masterminding the whole plan is the crew chief. He oversees the whole operation and decides what adjustments to make to the car according to the driver's inputs
Teamwork,
over the radio.
team
He
effort,
also
always.
makes suggestions to the driver on how hard to push the envelope. Some drivers like their crew chief to handle the mental heavy lifting. Others prefer to run at their own pace and just let the crew chief worry about adjustments. Either way, pairing the right drivers with the right crew chief is crucial to ending up in victory lane at the end of the day. But there's one other guy in this conversation that we haven't talked about yet. The spotter. That gets us to number 7. Drivers can't actually see that
Spotter.
much inside of their cars. Due to safety regulations,
Shit.
drivers are pretty much bolted into their seats and their head movement is very limited. So to help with this, drivers have spotters that communicate with them constantly, telling them where the other cars are out on the track, if there's a wreck up ahead, or what the leader is
Wow.
up to. These crew members, perched high atop the press box, are usually family members of the driver or former drivers themselves, who are handpicked based
No
on their
way.
ability to communicate effectively with the driver. On those crazy double file
Jeez.
restarts, the information
That's
spotters
amazing.
provide is understandably extremely important. In the early days before radio communications were widely available, lots of fatalities and injuries were caused simply because drivers didn't know what was happening up ahead. And as you probably expected, anytime a car is on the track, it is required by rule that the driver has a spotter up on the spotter stand to give him an extra set of eyes in the sky. Veteran drivers usually only have essential communications with their spotter and crew chief, as they
Look how
can almost
close
read
the
each
cage.
other's minds. However, newer drivers typically have a lot more radio traffic, as the spotter kind of doubles as a cheerleader and guide. And here's the coolest part about all this radio chatter. You can actually listen in. Using various apps on NASCAR.com or by renting a scanner at the track itself, you can pick a driver and listen in on all the back and forth action for yourself. And yes, sometimes
Wow.
the teams listen in on each other to see what kind of strategies they're cooking up. So don't be surprised if they start talking in code.
This is why
But
there's
fair
cheating.
warning,
What?
These are grown men in a high-stress
There's no
environment.
secret, you know.
Sometimes they say things that aren't exactly PG rated. So think twice about having your kids join in.
Of course.
Some tracks, though, are so massive that they require multiple spotters in different locations
These
to help
cr-
out the driver.
oh my-
And that gets us
You
finally...
you gotta remember, right? Sorry, like guys, but this the video's almost done. This is not a normal 60, 70 miles per hour, which is already bad. You know, when you do like if you crash into like, you know, like in a normal road or even 20, 40. You know, this is 200, 190 plus or 200 plus miles per hour. This guy going on a track that is like this, on a road track that is bent like a velodrome. Man, these crashes are crazy, man. These guys deserve a lot of respect,
To number
honestly.
8. NASCAR goes to a
For
lot
even
of very
participating.
different racetracks, and yes, we even make
Lots
a few
of-
right-hand
okay.
turns. Every driver in the series has to have a mastery of different
Wow.
disciplines in racing.
So I mean, it's a
Whether we're
stadium,
talking
you know,
about
they
the
can do it in
2-mile
the
and up
stadium as
super
well.
speedways, the half-mile short tracks, or the twisting and turning road courses, by the end of the 36 race schedule,
this looks
every
dangerous.
driver will have been put through a gauntlet of demanding venues. Tracks come in all shapes and sizes, and some of the lower divisions, NASCAR's minor leagues, even race on dirt. These circuits dot the U.S. landscape from major markets like Atlanta and Las
That
Vegas,
looks fun,
to
low-key,
small
I'm not
towns
gonna
tucked
lie.
away in the southeast like Bristol and Martinsville, and everywhere in between. There are no away games, so to speak, in NASCAR, but with the vast majority of teams being located in North Carolina, having to pinball across the U.S. is a demanding effort in its own right, as hauler drivers will work around the clock driving a garage on wheels to and from each racetrack during the
Wow.
year. The crews and
I didn't know they had mini leagues. So is there a case where obviously you start? Do they have juniors? You know, do you do that? Because like F1, you have youngsters as well. So is there a case where there's different level before you get to the main track? Well, obviously, he said there the youngest driver to ever win was 19 years old. Like, did he start from a junior level to mini league, or like, let me know, guys. You know, I'm new. I'm trying to learn more. You know, and make sure you check my previous 2 reactions as well. I'll put a link in the description below and put one of them at the end of
drivers
the
will
video.
fly out to the track a few days before the race and spend hours running practice laps until they're finally happy with the car and move on to qualifying time trials to set the field, where the fastest driver starts at the front, also known as the pole position. Well, that about wraps it all up. 8 things you might not have known about NASCAR. Hopefully this video has shed some light on this weird traditionally southern motorsport and given you a greater
100.
appreciation of these cars going around in differently shaped circles at unreasonably fast speeds. If you want
Yes,
to know
sir.
more about the
Absolutely.
types of drivers that make NASCAR what it is, then you can check out my video on the 9 types of NASCAR winners here and in the description down below. Also, big shout out to Biodegradable, who edited this video for me while I've been busy at work. You can check him out also down in the description. Thanks for watching.
Big shout
I
out.
hope you found this video helpful, and until next time, y'all take it easy.
Thank you, sir. You too. That was very beautiful. There you go, guys. That was a very interesting lesson that I really learned about this by Slap Shoes. You know, spelled S1APSH0ES. So I've subscribed to his channel, obviously, and yeah, thank you so much for this video, sir. That was really amazing. And the person that edited, that was really what I needed. You know, obviously. Knowledge is powerful. You know, you need to know what you're doing and what you're watching. You need to discover. In order to discover, you have to research, educate yourself. That's why education is key. You know, we can't be ignorant. So I hope I'm going to continuously do more reactions. I know there's more videos perhaps to react to. I'm looking forward to react to some of the greatest. I think he said he was 52 years of age. That record is still not beaten. So I learned so much, you know, like how, you know, it was people that made it had a very dirty background, and how cheating is definitely part of this sport. It's very accepted. They have teams. I didn't know how. I didn't think they had team. I thought it was all individuals. So when they say they have teams, do they have names? Like, you know, like what's their name? Let me know, people, in the comment. And what else did I learn through this? That the youngest winner was 19, the oldest was 52, and also they are very athletic. You know, they have to work very hard because it takes a lot of energy and effort, you know, to be able to be there on the track. They have mini leagues as well. Yeah, there's you know, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you really enjoyed this video, give a thumbs up, comment below, and to all the NASCAR fans, you're more than welcome to my channel. Check my previous video, check my channel. If you like what you see, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you already subbed, I want to say massive thank you to you, and I wish you all the best in whatever you do. So until next time, keep doing what you do, love what you do what you love. Your boys out. Let's go.